welcome to Hands Dirty, Mind Clean. Thank you for joining me. Today I will be repotting this beautiful moonshine snake plant. Used to be considered a Sansevieria. Now apparently it's considered a Dracaena Trifasciata. So they changed the name, but whichever, I will still call it just a plain snake plant. And if I slip up and call it Sansevieria, you know what I mean. All right. So I received this plant locally from a woman who said she was struggling with this plant. That's why it looks a little bit rough. Some of the tips are cut off. I'm assuming it started to lose color or something, so she cut off the tips. When I received this plant, the first thing I noticed was a gnat flew right out of it. This is why I'm putting on my gloves, because I'm assuming that there are more gnats in and around there, whether it be larvae or actually adult gnats. So I just want to put on gloves. You know, I naturally love to get my hands dirty, but not when there's gnat larvae in the soil. So the problem I saw right away is that this plant is in the pot, no nursery pot, just in a regular ceramic pot without drainage holes. The problem with that is when you water this plant, the water will sit and collect at the bottom of the pot. So this can lead to problems like root rot, which is the last thing a snake plant wants. Snake plants love to be able to dry out, which is why I'm choosing this lovely terracotta pot. I love terracotta pots. I think they look great and they do a great job of absorbing the water. So they're great for plants like Dracaena Trifasciatas, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because they draw out the water. And like I said, these plants enjoy being dry. One of the many reasons I love this plant. Super easy to take care of. Anywho, speaking of easy to take care of, I have another one. It's also a moonshine snake plant. Can you tell I love this? So I bought this a few months ago. It just had the one stem, and I'm gonna mix it with this plant and put it in the terracotta. So this terracotta is 8 inches in diameter, whereas these two pots are 6 inches. So I'm going up by 2 inches, but I'm moving 2 plants together. One thing to know with snake plants, they love to be crowded. They love to be really, really snug inside of a pot. So this is one of the other reasons I'm kind of squishing them in together, hoping that they kind of enjoy each other's company as they're in this bigger pot together. The beauty with snake plants, when you put them nice and snug in a pot together, that tends to be when they give you those sweet little snake plant pups, those little babies that they push out. They tend to do it when they're really, really snug. So hopefully we can get some moonshine babies. All right, so I'm going to start with potting it. One thing to note, it has a massive drainage hole. So usually I would use a leca ball, clay ball to fill the drainage hole. This hole is too big for my leca. So I'm getting creative. I'm using a coffee filter. I'm going to take this and I'm going to place it at the bottom. It seems like a good idea to me because the water will still drain out of it, and it will stop any soil from just leaking through that drainage hole. I'm not too concerned of it getting moldy. If it does, it's at the bottom, so it'll drain out. Like I tell you with snake plants, I don't water them too much, so it should be able to dry out before it has any issues with mold. All right, so here is the soil that I'm going to be using. I am using a cactus succulent soil mix. I'm just going to get right in there and pour it on in. I'm using a cactus/succulent soil mix because it definitely helps with the drainage. It doesn't absorb or hold on to moisture like a lot of the other soils do. So that's why I'm using this mix. It's great for snake plants because they kind of work like succulents, right? They don't like to be moist. They truly like to dry out in between waterings. So one thing I always make sure I do that I make sure the snake plant, the soil, I put my finger into the soil and I feel till at least my second knuckle. So your main knuckle there, you want to make sure all of that is dry when you pull your finger out. You want the soil rather, to be very, very dry, and then you give it a nice good watering. All right. One of the many reasons I love snake plants, and when I say I love snake plants, I mean it, because I own a lot. I have, I think, a total of 7 or 8 different varieties of snake plants, because they're just such a lovely, beautiful, beautiful plant, which originate from Africa. They do come from the continent of Africa, and I just find them to be beautiful and super easy. Super, super easy. I have a lot going on in my life, so plants that need less from me, I am all about. So this is one of the main reasons that I love this plant. And there's so many different varieties, so many beautiful, unique ones. So one of the many reasons I love it. Anyways, so let's refocus. Let's talk a little bit about the soil. So remember I said that we were using some cactus succulent mix. So that's great. And I'm just adding a little bit of a premium potting mix that I have. I just have it, so I figure why not top it up, because it's one of my favorite soils. I love it because there's a lot of perlite in there, and there's some bark in there. It's got a lot of good stuff. So I'm just gonna mix it all in together. And then once that's fully mixed in, we will the moonshine plant right into there. So I'm going to dig it up. I made sure to let it dry out because I just find it a lot easier to transplant plants from dry soil. So, oh, look at that gnat. Don't know if you guys can see that, but there's another one. All right, so even more reason I don't want to reuse the soil. Usually I'll reuse some of the soil that came from the original plant. In this case, because there are gnats flying around and I literally have gotten rid of my gnat infestation quite a while ago, don't want it again, I'm going to try and get off most of this soil here. And then of course I'm going to treat it afterwards. But I'm going to try and get most of the soil off here because we don't want any gnat problems. Those things are super annoying. All right. Let's see. Just trying to clear off most of the soil, and as I'm doing that, it looks like some of the plant is coming apart. There we are. So one part just came off, and that's fine. So time to put it into its new home. Yeah, it's fine, it'll flop around in there for now, but I want to take out my other one, my original moonshine, and get that in there as well. So this one, again, I let dry out, so it should be easy to come on out. And this one came with really good soil as well. There's a lot of bark in there. A lot of chunks, very chunky soil, which is great for these plants. Look at that. All right, so that came out pretty easy. Can you tell I let it dry out? All right, there are the roots. Looking good. Let's move that out of the way. All right, so I'm just gonna place this in. I'm gonna try and rearrange it in a position that I'm happy with, and then I will just kind of top it off with some soil. They're kind of all over the place, but that's fine. I'm just gonna add some soil, and then I can kind of stick them where they need to go, where I'd like them to go at least. All right, so here we go. I think I'm just about done. I'm just kind of patting down the soil ever so gently, just to, make sure everything is packed in well. I definitely will water this after. I just don't have my watering can with me right now, so I'll probably do it off camera. And I'm actually quite happy with how it looks overall. I love the Moonshine Snake Plant, and even though this is a bit rough around the edges, I still think it looks lovely. All right, thank you so much for journeying with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my video. I hope it was helpful for you. Please take some time to drop a comment if it was. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. So leave a comment. If you enjoyed this video or if it helped you in any way, shape, or form, please just give me a thumbs up there. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you can see more videos about planting. Thanks again, and I'm going to sign off, wishing you an abundance of plants, peace, and